I mean, what does this feel like? You know, who you're preparing for in the Eastern Conference Finals?
It's exciting. You know, I think everybody in here, you know, ready to get the game started, you know, Wednesday. You know, but at the same time, we want to, you know, stay, you know, in a good place.
Well, we know you watched Game of Thrones, but did you watch the game as well?
Yeah, I did. I kind of had a terrible angle of it, though. I was watching it on my phone because I took my wife out on Mother's Day. And I was trying to battle giving her attention, and you know, so it was kind of weird.
Sneaking the phone? Is that?
Yeah, well, it got to a point she just gave me her phone to watch it on. So.
That's love, though, right?
It is, but I didn't want to, you know, have a Mother's Day like that.
What was your reaction when the quiet shut?
Man, my phone died, so I couldn't see it. That's why she gave me her phone.
I'm sure you've seen the replays, though.
I did. It was crazy. That was a, you know, a heck of a bounce, man. From a great player. You know, Kawhi's playing, you know, some great basketball right now that I ever seen. So, you know, to see that, you know, shot go in, we got to be a little bit more locked in.
So with him playing that well, how do you guys slow him down?
We just got to follow the game plan and, you know, see where it go from there. You know, we're going to make adjustments throughout the game. Like I said, you really can't, you know, stop a great player like that. You just got to try to, you know, make it tough for him.
Chris has gotten him most of this year. Just what have you seen from Chris as a defender this year?
Man, a good jump, you know. Chris, you know, been more locked in, you know, on that end of the floor. You know, especially when you got a lot of, you know, players really, you know, locked in on that end of the floor. It just makes everybody on the, you know, out there who's on the court at that particular time, you know, lock in on, you know, what the game plan is.
It is a team game, but I'm sure through the years you've had many battles with Kyle Lowry. Can you talk about that matchup, please?
Kyle's just a great point guard. He's a, you know, great player, man. All-star for a reason. You know, probably, you know, I think he probably going to Hall of Fame at some point in his career. So, I'm just, you know, grateful to be in this position, you know, to get to go against him. You know, he's did a great job, you know, leading his team. He probably didn't score, you know, as much as, you know, everybody, you know, hope he would, but the impact he got on that team is, you know, I see it.
You had a winning record against the Raptors in the regular season, but months later now it's the postseason. How can you factor that in at all?
Pardon?
Wait, sorry, my voice is awful. You guys had a winning record against the Raptors in the regular season. Does that factor in at all now that it's
it don't mean nothing. It don't mean nothing. It's 0-0. You know, we going in with that mindset that, you know, we taking it a game at a time. The regular season is the regular season. We had a, you know, great, you know, regular season. So we just want to keep, you know, staying in a good place we in right now. And that's focus on each other and, you know, going out and playing as hard as we can game one.
I don't think you're trying to push a nickname on it like, you know, Pat is with the benchmark, but you and George Hill have been playing, you know, 48 minutes together every night. I feel like at the point guard position, it's pretty rare to have two guys that can kind of do what you guys do. Just what is that partnership like?
George is, man, I feel like he's underrated. You know, he's been in, you know, great situations. He's been, you know, in the championship game. He's been in battles when he was in Indiana, you know, in the Eastern Conference Finals, my bad. And just, you know, him having him on the team, someone I can, you know, talk to. I mean, he's a great, you know, person to talk to. He's a great mentor, you know, at that. And just to have him coming off the bench playing the way he's, you know, been playing he's great for us. And, you know, we got another one in Malcolm Brogdon coming back as well. So I think we're pretty, you know, good at that position.
I think they only went 7 deep in the Game 7. How much of an edge does the bench depth give you guys to be able to take some risks?
Oh, we'll see, man. You know, we don't doubt our bench not one bit, you know, coming into this game, coming into game one Wednesday. Like you said, they've been playing, you know, 7 players? I mean, each game different. You know, they probably mismatch lineups, put different players out there. You never know what might happen. We got to be prepared at all, you know, all costs. So we just, like I said, we're going to stay focused on this.
so the shot was
You know, you don't see very many like that. It's just, I guess, the excitement of the playoffs, and you know, you feel bad for Philly and their players and coaching staff, and such a tight series, and obviously, you know, for us to know that who we're playing and Toronto's a great team, a lot of great players, well coached, and we're getting closer to the start of our series.
Were you watching it as a staff, or were you at home?
No, we watched it as a staff. We did a little bit of work in the afternoon before the game, and then watched it all together. And it's pretty unique to have a series go 7, and you're kind of waiting to know which one you're going to play, and to be prepared to talk to the team about it today. So it was we all got to kind of see the swings and the ebbs and flows and momentum changes, and finally figure out who we are playing.
What's it like watching a game with you guys? Like, I can find myself getting lost and having some fun, but is it only like tactics and stuff like that, or like, how does that feel for you?
It's a little bit of both. We're still just normal guys watching a basketball game. People telling each other what they think is going to happen, and the other person saying, "No, you're crazy." And it's just like at the Mecca bar or wherever else everybody else watched it. So, no, I mean, we're definitely watching for some strategy stuff, watching for subs and different things like that. But also, at some point you just sit back and enjoy a great game, and I guess the competitiveness of it, and yeah.
It was obvious last night that Kawhi had a great postseason, had a great game, obviously from the point of what they do. Just how do you prepare for a player like him?
Yeah, no, he's such a good player, and does so many things well, and gets to his spots, and it's I think conceptually to think about how hopefully you can maybe make it more difficult on him. You can come up with those types of ideas. The players now got to go out and try and execute them, and just make everything as difficult on him as possible. But we won't be the first team to have said that. This is they've played Orlando and Philly, and I'm sure they all wanted to make it difficult and hard on him. And sometimes great players have a way of just finding ways to get things done. So we're not any different. We'll want to make everything hard, give them some different looks, throw different bodies at them, and hopefully we can find a way.
I feel like we've always talked about Chris being a really good team defender, but this year it feels like he's been up to the task, kind of in those one-on-one situations. Just what has he meant to your defense for this squad?
Yeah, I think there's a handful of really elite, kind of small forward, big wings in the league right now, and so I think Chris has really stepped up to that challenge whenever we've played, a Paul George, a Kevin Durant, a Kawhi Leonard. You could keep going down the list, but and I think he's wanted to prove to I don't know, probably everybody, starting with himself and coaching staff, teammates, what he could do as a defender. And whatever point that switch flipped, he's been really good defensively, and so I think for him to be the guy that gets that assignment, we feel good about that.
Mike, going back right at the beginning with you and Kawhi, how long did it take you to figure out that you guys had got something that was going to become really special?
Well, he made a great first impression in San Antonio on his teammates, on his coaching staff. That first season, I think it was a lockout season if I remember right, and just the ability to get loose balls and rebounds and all kinds of little things that sometimes go unnoticed. But to think that he was going to evolve to the player he is, I don't know when that happened, if it ever did happen. I left a few years ago, and so, but I think when he started to improve his shooting, working on his shooting, making huge strides there, that's when, with his body and his toughness, you felt like maybe the guy could take some big steps forward.
All 4 regular season meetings were done by the end of January. Both teams have changed since then. So how much do you even look at those?
We still look at those quite a bit, more so the last of those 4. I think we just believe at the end of the day, how did we guard them, and some of the main players, for both teams are still the same. Not that it hasn't been important. Their additions and our additions are, I think really helped both teams, but Kawhi played in those games, and Giannis played in those games, and Chris played in those games, and Eric played in those games, and Malcolm. And so, we look at that a lot, but we also looked a lot at their series against Philadelphia, their series against Orlando. But we always look a lot more at our games.
How does Marcus change because he wasn't playing the 4?
Yeah, first I think defensively is where it stands out to me. He's been a defensive player of the year. We talk about defensive IQ. He's got about as high defensive IQ as anybody I've ever known. So he really does things that are smart and impactful and subtle on the defensive end of the court. Offensively, he's another guy that's a great passer, facilitator. If you try and get the ball out of, whether it be Leonard's hands or Lowry's hands, he can make shots, he can make decisions. He's just a really good basketball player that I think it was a big pickup for them.
One of the guys that played well against Philly, Siakam, seems like he's just got better through the year. He can be dangerous in transition as well. What's the challenges this team present?
Yeah, he's a unique in that, as a four-man or a big guy that can, bring the ball in transition, that can attack you from the three-point line. He's very kind of crafty and just finds cracks and can get to his spots and get to his shots. So you have to respect him and, really have to guard him off the dribble, both in transition and half court.
How impressive is it? This is pretty young in a lot of ways, and the moment has never seemed too big for these guys. How impressive is that?
I think it's impressive. I think we always want to give him credit. We're always, I think, hungry and humble for more, and I think that just going to the next task at hand, and usually the task at hand is coming in and getting better the next day and looking at the film and finding ways and just focusing on what we're doing each day. Hopefully puts them in a position where it's just kind of become routine for us, and certainly to playoffs it's everything magnified in some ways, but we try and keep it as close to the routine as possible.
You've spoken about your relationship with George Hill, and he's the only one on this roster that's able to play and get on the floor who's been in the Eastern Conference Finals. How will you look to him to not tell the guys how big this moment is, but if emotions start to get in, him whisper in some ears and tell the guys to, calm down when they need to?
Yeah, he's been doing it through the playoffs. I think it's been a storyline and something we've talked about. I think first, with his play, he does it. That's, I think he's, if you can't get out on the court and do things and impact the game, it's harder to have the voice and the impact when you're asking guys to do certain things. And so, George has played great. The fact he's been in these situations, I think, helps him, be able to convey messages, or, whether it be details on coverages or just keeping your emotions in a good place and understanding what's important. I'll keep encouraging him to do it, and keep encouraging him to play aggressively and do the things on the court that impact winning too.
I'm curious with Malcolm. I know you said game reps are kind of what's more important for him at this point, but what are these kind of couple days for him as far as a health perspective, moving that minutes restriction up?
Yeah, I think it's more so for him. I think to get the days is good, but I really, am craving him playing and getting game reps. But, I think his foot's just going to, if it's not 100%, which I think it is, it's just going to get better and better. His conditioning hopefully get a little bit better, but it really takes game to get in game condition. So I think it's a positive, but it's, it's a little bit like everything for us to have 5 or 6, 7 days. There's a lot of positives in it, and there's a lot of things that make you wish you played, today or yesterday. And eventually you just get to game one and you go play.